for another episode of Canadian Mortgage Weekly for Thursday, January 5th, 2023. It's the first episode of the year, and I'm really excited to be able to share with you what's happening in 2023, what we're looking at this year for the mortgage market, what we're looking at this year for the real estate market, and just all around what's happening, as well as the current data that I always go over with you guys here on these episodes. So, as I mentioned, what's happening this year on mortgages? Well, there's a lot that has happened. We've seen prices go up quite considerably in 2022. We did see them fall back quite considerably. In August, we saw prices bottom out, and we saw house prices start growing again August, September, November. We did see a decline of 2% recently, though. However, so makes me think that house prices may stagnate in 2023, especially during the first 6 to 8 months of the year. What do you guys think? My thoughts are that home prices aren't really going to go anywhere for the time being. We've seen them drop quite considerably to this point, and now we will probably see them stagnate until something happens with interest rates. And in terms of interest rates, I really do believe that interest rates where they're at is here to stay, at least for the near future, that being the next 6 to 8 months as well. And that being that interest rates will probably end up staying a little bit high the way they have been into July, into August, and then we'll see some changes at that point. The Bank of Canada is really interested in making sure that inflation does come right back down to 2%, which is really key. And that will happen only when the Bank of Canada has a chance to see their interest rates, the way they've been planning this, all play out. And that will come in the next few weeks, few months, as all these interest rate hikes that have occurred during 2020 follow through and make their way into the economy and what's happening there. So for 2023, house prices should stagnate. Interest rates should remain high. Talk a little bit more about what's happening in 2023 as I go through some of this data here. Maybe I can point to some of the caveats that we will see in 2023. Well, first of all, I wanted to take a look at our current monthly mortgage payment. The average mortgage payment for a $350,000 mortgage is $2,034, and the average mortgage payment right now for a $650,000 mortgage is $3,566. So the red mortgage numbers are over a 30-year time frame, and the black ones are over a 25-year time frame. All right, so let's look at the bond yield. Last week we reported that it was at 3.3. This week it's still at 3.3. A little bit of a variation on the 3. We're in the mid 3s right now, 3.54. So we'll have to see what happens going forward with this, but we do see a trending downtrend, as we can see here. We saw the peak here in October, another peak here. Sorry, this would be actually August. This is October, and now another peak here in, I think, late December. That would be characterized as. So we'll see what goes into the new year. All right, so we have inflation rate for Canada. Inflation rate for Canada is still pretty high at 6.8%. Still pretty high, though, overall. Has been trending down slightly. I mean, we do see this 8.1% up here. It's gone down slightly, but ever so slightly. I mean, it's kind of flatlining at this point at around 6.87%. Wouldn't you rather say that it's not really going any further down? United States inflation is on its way down from 9.1%, going down. Right now we're at 7.1%. Variance to prime on the CDOR rate currently is 1.47%. The CDOR rate is currently at 4.98%. We have seen a little bit of a flatlining of the CDOR rate. Since October, we've seen a little bit of a flatlining here. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, and if that flatlining will turn into a downhill reversion. All right, let's look at the prime rate update. As of December the 7th, we did see prime rate increase again to 6.45%. We'll have to watch this. We'll have another update on prime rate on January the 25th. So that's another update for you all in terms of what's happening with mortgages and prime rates and what will happen in terms of the next update there. Is it going up another 50 basis points, another 25 basis points? We'll have to see. And that happens right here on January 25th at 10 a.m. for a pre-rate show and live rate announcement. So actually the live rate show will begin, the pre-rate show will begin at 9:45 with a live rate announcement at 10 a.m. So we have about, about 2 or 3 episodes plans still before that big day. Right now it's January 5th. We have next week's episode, and then so we have a couple weeks episodes still remaining. Average national house price average is down 2% to $632,802 as of November of 2022. And going back into what's 2023 going to look like, as I mentioned, rates will probably not subside until the second half of 2023. That's simply because the government really needs to make sure inflation's down to at least that 2% range or further down from where we are at now at 6.8%. What are they going to do with that? They are going to continue to raise rates. In the meantime, house prices have come down. I think they've bottomed out. So what will happen with house prices going forward? I think they will stagnate as demand continues to keep up the current prices. And there's still quite a bit of demand for housing right now. So we'll have to see when that demand will falter. I think that demand right now is coming from a lot of immigration and a lot of people that do have to move. The people that don't have to move aren't really moving right now. Not really making any changes right now. They're kind of putting their plans on hold. House prices will stagnate into 2023, so there'll be less opportunity just to buy a home to grow it. And there are also talks of additional legislation and further tightening of mortgage rules to prevent easy access to home ownership. So they don't, the government really doesn't have any plans to increase the access and ease of ownership for mortgages. What they are looking to do is to create home units in terms of rental units more so. And these rental units will be available through the many different facets. One of them being they want to incentivize the creation of rent-to-own programs by private developers. So the government will incentivize private developers for a government sort of sanctioned rent-to-own program this year. That'll be one way. And then in Ontario, they want to create, our government wants to create additional housing units by converting current housing units to 2 and 3 unit homes, not by necessarily allowing or engaging or increasing the opportunity of ownership of single detached homes, but having existing homes be renovated so additional families can move in and stay in the same property. So that's going to be an interesting mandate for 2023. We'll have to see what happens with house prices and interest rates. We'll see if it continues to boom in the second half of 2023. A lot of experts are predicting that 2023 won't really have any activity happen until the second half. So anyway, interested to hear what your comments are about all this. My name is Joe Bladek. I'm a mortgage broker servicing Aurelia, Barrie, and all of Ontario, virtually and in person. So I can be with you virtually if you live outside of the Barrie, Aurelia or area, or we can arrange to meet in person as well to speak about your mortgages and your mortgage needs to make sure we can set that up for you today. Catch me on next week's episode 117, Thursday, January 12th, right here on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're catching us today. Love that you're catching and tuning in to our show. And we'll see you next time here on Canadian Mortgage Weekly, Canada's only weekly video mortgage news podcast, broadcasting from Aurelia,